Welcome to this Stockbox interview with Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources. Hello, Andrew.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us again. How are you doing?
Extremely good.
Oh, extremely good. Oh, good. Do you want to tell us why?
Yep. Well, look, keeping really busy. And we're keeping very busy because everything is starting to move. It's not just because we just had a placing and raised £1 million. It's also because we have got our Kenya licenses back recently, and we've been making a lot of progress in Australia, and we've been starting to move things along much more rapidly in the Congo.
Okay, so you've got your Kenyan licenses back. What stage is that at? Is it about time to kick off there?
Yeah, of course. We got them back 2 months ago, effectively. And this was after a period of more than 5 years when we had been fighting a law case and doing other things. So the camp had been mothballed, which meant we were spending the minimum possible there. So it needed quite a bit of refurbishment, and the vehicles needed to be repaired. We needed to do some painting, repair the gate and the fencing. We needed to do some repairs on the core sheds, some painting to make sure that all the rooms were habitable, to look at the plumbing and the electricity and all those little things. And that's taken something like a couple of months. It's taken a little bit longer than we expected because, again, the lockdown has meant that some parts, for example, for the cars weren't so easily obtainable. And it's also we've been taking on the staff necessary to conduct the exploration. And that's not so easy when you can't go freely backwards and forwards from Kenya and you're at a standing start, really, again, because every time you go to Kenya, you've got a 14-day quarantine when you come back. So, but we've done it. We're there. We're ready to start. And so the exploration now begins.
Okay, great. So the camp's ready, nicely, freshly painted. So, yeah, you're eager to get started there then?
Yes.
Okay. And what about the sort of the neighbours in surrounding you? What are they up to? What kind of resource have they got that perhaps might give you a clue as to what you could find?
Well, it's interesting because if I looked at what we were describing this as having a few years ago on our neighbours, take two key neighbours, North Mara, which is the Barrick just to our south, and what used to be Acacia, then Africa Barrick, then Barrick, and is now Shanta, just to our north. And these are two other greenstones in the Tanzanian Craton, because the Tanzanian Craton goes up into that little bit of Kenya, close to the Lake Victoria. But where we look at where they were a few years ago and where they are now, well, Shanta to the north has just been talking about having 1.2 million ounces at 12.6 grams a ton inferred resource, which they sort of inherited, and is a really good platform to build on. I think Barrick did a good job there, but they spent a lot of money. And then just to the south of us is the quite long-standing Barrick mine, North Mara, the other side of the border in Tanzania. And they have gone underground. They have an underground now and a surface deposit, but they've managed to up their grade and get more resource and reserve. So they have 4.3 million ounces there. And they kept on finding more. And in fact, the grade's gone up. So when I say this is what's happened to the north and to the south, grade's gone up and resource has gone right up. And of course, North Mara is producing every year quite a bit of gold. In fact, let's see if I can see what the latest year is with North Mara. I'll have it here. Forecast production is 240 to 270,000 ounces. Is that just North Mara? Let's have a look. Yes, it is. Yeah. So you've got 240,000, 270,000 ounces from that belt parallel to us, just 20 or 30 kilometers to the south, the other side of the border. And Migori has always had the potential for that, but it's had various disruptions. First of all, the gold price was low, of course, up to 2003, 2004. Then when a little just after that, the then partners were trying to drill it, they had that disputed election. And this area was the epicenter of some of the fighting between the two factions, and the drilling company that was there at the time fled the country. And then the company that had it ran out of money.
Mm-hmm.
We came along in about 2009, 2010, had drills turning there within a few weeks, and we did terrific. We got one of the major international consultants to give us a JORC resource within a couple of years, and that was our platform. Building on what had been done before, doing a little bit of extra work, putting everything together, locating all the old holes, geolocating them, and creating a database, a really good database. But then just as we were about to start building on that platform, we were interrupted. And now we are in a position to start working again. In a way, it's serendipitous because this is the time when the gold price has gone up and is going to go up further, we think. And we are just now in a position to carry on doing the work. But of course, one of the effects of us seeming to have lost the asset those years ago was that our market capitalization came down, which makes it more difficult for us to afford the necessary work. So we have to get the news out there about what we have and what the potential is. But to do that, of course, you need people. You need the people who can provide us with the data, the graphics, the information, do the presentations. So that's what we're building up now. You say, well, why didn't we have it before? The answer is that it's been a year or two where we thought we were imminently going to get this back, but until it actually happens, nothing is sure. And in Africa, not everything is 100% transparent all the time. But so when it happened, of course, just at the end of lockdown, really in lockdown, we had to get as soon as we could. We had to get into the country, which we did within days of the border being opened, and start getting ourselves to the position we are now. But from here, it's going to be a very exciting development, I think. That JORC resource that we had, I'm just checking with CSA now whether they need to do anything to update it, to make sure that it is compliant with the latest edition of JORC. And if there's anything we need to do, that shouldn't be a big operation, that'll be quick. And once we've got that confirmation, we can start talking in headlines about what we have there and the potential.
Okay, so it's been quite a long time coming, but look, you're sort of finally there, ready to start. When can investors expect to hear confirmation that you have started work, and what are the immediate things to look out for, the immediate sort of actions?
Well, we're going to start off with some low impact exploration at the same time as we are getting clearances from the ministry and so on for some drilling. Mm-hmm. And we've got to make sure that we're going to get out the files and look at them again and start thinking about where we can drill. And we need to. We had plans back then, but I don't just want to take a 2013, 2014 plan and do it now. We should look at it again, reassess. That'll be quite a quick operation, and we may find that something that's happened in the intervening period influences our thinking about how to do this, and then we've got to get a drilling company available and get them mobilized and onto site. But we want to start building that resource as quickly as possible. So once we get going, we'll move very fast.
And when do you think you might get going? Can you say at this stage?
I think it is partly dependent on finishing 1 or 2 hires, because we've got to have the right people supervising this, and we'll be working cooperatively with them to decide how to do the drilling. We could make the decision today and have a drill crew there very quickly, but I think we need to, a week spent in preparation is never wasted. Particularly when you are picking up, dusting off a file that hasn't been active for several years.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrew. That's an update there on Kenya. And just to finish, then, any news? What's happening in Australia?
Yes, there we have been working on getting our licenses granted, and I really expect very soon to have news on the first 3 of those. We've also been, we've got an exploration manager now. We've opened an office. We're doing all those things. We're getting micro mines so we can start planning what our exploration is going to be once we're listed. and we've got the 43101, and we're talking to one or two potential CEOs for that business. So, and news will start to come quite quickly. But you may have seen quite a flow of news from our neighbours there as well. For example, some people who have ground right next to us, and got some of it just after we got ours. They have just, the Petrotherm, they have put those assets into a Canadian company for $21 million. And I think that the price of that company has just gone up. So it's worth quite a bit more now. And when we compare ourselves with them, I think, we think we have more potential. But of course we would probably. We think we have a lot more potential. The difference is we haven't yet got any of our licenses granted. But we've been able to do this very cheaply because instead of going and buying things from other people, we just identified good ground and we got hold of it. And now we're getting hold of good people who are based in Ballarat to run it. But I think that's going to be exciting. I mean, we are getting approaches for that business or parts of it all the time. But we don't want to do anything until we've actually got granted licenses, because we can't really complete a deal until we have. And then we shall start looking at ways to monetize that asset and to valorize the asset. And that's going to come very quickly. It's all these things that I'm talking about, whether it's the exploration or Australia, it's a matter of weeks. And I'm not going to give precise timetables, but we want to get going on these things this year.
Great. Okay. Well, Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources, thank you very much for your time.
And you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.